This is the month of August 2014, and you're watching ZTV News. Now for your host, the woman who thinks lube is for quitters, Zontan.
Greetings, my little zonelings, and welcome again to ZTV News, your regular source for updates, feedback, and news here on Zone Archive. Once again, our sincerest apologies for the delay in updates recently, but factors outside our control have kept us from producing on schedule.
I didn't know jilling off to Harry Partridge /Fix was considered a factor.
Dave, why don't you tell the audience why you're not allowed back at that petting zoo?
Just open the goddamn mailbag already.
That's what I thought. Our first letter comes from Trevor Hall, who writes, Hey Zone, first of all, happy almost Valentine's Day. Unless you're reading this after, then in that case, hope you had a nice Valentine's Day. Now down to the question. I was wondering how you first came up with and started everything you do, from Flash animation to just everything else. This is my first time writing to you, and I hope I hear a reply someday. Your fan, Trevor. Sent from my iPod. Thank you for writing, Trevor. But I'm afraid your question doesn't really have a straight answer since no one knows where or how Zone began. Some have said that Zone has existed since time began, subtly guiding humanity down the path of tentacles. Some say Zone is the internet itself, a digital manifestation of lust incarnate. And some say that Zone started an art blog in 1999. The world may never know. Our next letter comes from Jane Oliver Rutherford, who writes, Hello, Zontan. I just wish to say I am a fan of the work you do on Zone Archive and YouTube. You bring a certain sophistication and humbling approach to the adult and somewhat taboo of our society. Just to make a note on your last YouTube episode, I disagree with Dave. You are not a cum dumpster. You just love sex and there is nothing wrong with that. As for a question, how is it you can come up with some of the most unique situations for your parodies? Is it a collaborative workshop or simply random ideas thrown out until one has a majority vote? I would be most grateful if you were to read this email on the next ZTV News. Oh, and a big hi to Lemmy too. He's so cute. Sincerely, Jane Oliver Rutherford. Thank you for writing, Jane. And Lemmy thanks you too. As for your question, the process is nothing at all like how you described. It's mostly Zone working with the material that's presented. All decisions and ideas are only subject to what Zone thinks would work. This method does have its stumbling points, and nowhere was that more clear than during the Modifiers parody. Because there was only a pilot to work with, sound files, characters, and possible scenarios were unfortunately scarce. But where source material came up short, ingenuity was there to lend a hand. The details are kind of messy, but suffice to say that not every sound clip you heard from the parody was actually lifted from the original show. In a phrase, it's all about expansion within boundaries. Don't have a means to overcome an obstacle? Find a different way around it. It's the cornerstone by which
Okay, wrap it up, Noam Chomsky. We don't have all day to hear your goddamn thesis.
The one time we get an intelligent question on this show and you're trying to play me off like it's the Oscars?
Damn straight I am. The people don't want to hear about the theory and practice of erotic satire. What they want to hear are emails like this.
CZL945765169 writes, Did you notice that your belly button? Why, don't fuck this. How do I even respond to this, Dave?
Beats me, Twinkle Bitch. Why don't you give it some thought while we move on to my favorite segment?
Don't say it.
Silence! It's time for the gallery. Our first piece is The Elegant Too Scandalous by Nocta Aeterna. It depicts our Zontan as a refined woman, with wine goblet in hand, flanked by her gentleman Lemmy, who is all too happy to refill the lady's glass on the off chance she becomes inebriated enough to give up the butt.
Lemmy doesn't need to get me drunk to make me... Oh my god, I just said that out loud.
Silence! We continue. Our next piece is The Playful Happy Fapping by Tenebrou. At first, our Zontan seems embarrassed to be seen holding what may be a pleasure apparatus, but her inner self cannot be denied. She relishes being exposed for who she is.
This drawing is really cute. What in the world am I supposed to be holding? Greninja's tongue scarf?
Sure, Zontan. Let's go with that. Our last piece is the sensational Happy B-Day ZT by Razamatsu. Here, our Zontan offers her beloved Harry Partridge a slice of cake in a manner that he once made famous in one of his works. Perhaps Harry wants some cheese with his cake.
In the immortal words of Pam from Archer, sploosh. Oh, sorry, I was somewhere else. But now it's time to welcome our very special guest. He's an incredibly talented Flash artist, and we're lucky to have him in the studio with us. Please give a warm welcome to Red Minus.
Hello, Zontan. Whatever. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear it. There's been a lot said about you and your work ever since you burst on the scene with your Marvel vs. Capcom 3 tune. A personal favorite of mine, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
But to get back on track, one of the more intriguing things that's being said is that you, Red Minus, are really Zone.
Yes, and I'm glad you asked. Now that I'm here, we finally have the opportunity to clear the air and definitively settle this matter once and for all. Probably.
Probably?
Well, what we're asking here is a question of individual identity, when perhaps what we should really be considering is the nature of identity itself. Am I Zone? Are you Zone? These questions are just small components of the much larger enigma of the nature of our shared existence. Such binary absolutes as is or isn't really have no place in the perception-based reality in which we all mutually participate. The very concept of an absolute personal identity is an entirely subjective, social, and metaphysical construct.
I don't follow.
While some will argue that an individual's perspective exists in a solipsistic vacuum, where one's own identity and the identity of others is a sole product of the perception of a viewer, it's equally plausible that an individual's existence is possible only through the shared perception of those who view and define that individual. For example, when you're watching hentai and you see a butthole, you probably ask yourself, did Zone draw that butthole? Or did Minus draw that butthole? Or did you, the viewer, draw that butthole simply by your interpretation of the arrangement of squiggly lines on the screen? Would you touch it? Would you give it a little kiss? Do you imagine it to be like one of those insects' mouths from The Naked Lunch? Would you feed it something? What would you feed it, if you could pick anything? Probably like a hot dog or a cucumber or something like that, knowing you. That would be my guess. Like, I'm no expert on this shit, or maybe I am, but if I had to guess what you'd feed to a mouth-shaped butthole, I'd probably have to say something that's shaped kind of like a dink. Or have I gotten the wrong impression?
Are you Zone or not?
No. Well, maybe. It just depends who you ask at this point, really. I feel like we've covered that.
Well, thank you for making that clear, but I'm afraid we're out of time. It's been lovely having you on the show.
Look, I understand that it may be difficult to contemplate notions of such an intimidating magnitude, but it's tremendously important that we're able to consider these questions at all in the first place.
I'm sure it is. Lemmy, won't you show him to the door?
Come on, stop. We talked about this. What the fuck? Lemmy, what the fuck? We talked about this. Come on. Whoa. Where are we going?
Background check for guests. Well, we're rounding third and heading home, so let's finish us out with our coming attractions. Many of you remember that a while ago we teased that Yoruichi from Bleach will get her turn on the archive someday. Well, I'm proud to announce that today is not that day. No, Zone has decided that the iron needs to be struck while it's hot, and has shifted focus towards Matoi Ryuko from Kill la Kill. Expect her to reveal even more skin on the archive very soon. That was the month that was here on ZTV. See you next time. And as always, I'm watching you, Fab.
If you want to follow the show, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us here on the Twitters using the links below. If you have any questions, comments, or fan art that you would like to see here, email Zoneton at zoneton@zonearchive.com. And don't forget about our new range of merchandise, available now at sharkrobot.com. Hey, Zoneton,
What?
you might want to lean back in your chair.
Why?
Well, you don't want to hit your chin on the way down, do you?
What the hell are you... Oh, God. Where am I?
Can I go now? It's been over a year.
Who gave you back your speaking privileges?